So we know that memory means it is an array of some storage locations. So I hope you are following. So memory is nothing but some series of or array of some storage locations. Okay. So in that, based on the location's capacity, we can store the content. Suppose if it is a 4-bit memory, we can store in each location a 4-bit data. Suppose if it is an 8-bit memory, okay, 8-bit memory, 8-bit size. If each location size is 8-bit, we can store in that an 8-bit of data. So like that. So in general scenario, generally whenever we say memory means in those memories, in each location I can store 8-bit of data. That is general scenario. In majority of the memory ICs, in general applications also, what we use is memories with each location size of 8-bit size. Okay, those locations count may increase, whether it may be of 4K or 64K, 1 MB, 2 MB, or whatever may be the size of that memory. Okay, but size is not limited. But what we generally prefer is, irrespective of the size of the memory, each location of that memory contains how many number of bits is generally 8 bits. Okay, generally 8 bits. So that's why in majority of the cases it will not be specified there. Okay, so here we are discussing about the memory interfacing of 808. Okay, that too preferably regarding SRAM. Okay, static RAM, and we know static RAM, its major applications lies in designing of the cache memories, which are the fast accessing memories. Okay, and coming to our RAM, our regular RAM, our primary memory or our volatile memory, it is designed with the DRAM memory cell. I think you know this. DRAM memory cells are used to design the our regular RAM memory. Okay, SRAM memory cells are used to design the cache memories, because of their fast accessing. SRAM cells provide the fast accessing of the content. DRAM memory cells provide the huge capacity of memory, and a memory designed with the DRAM memory cells provide a huge capacity of memory. But unfortunately, accessing wise, fetching the contents wise or storing the contents wise is very slow compared to the SRAM memory cells. That's why cache memory designing is with the SRAM memory cells. Our normal RAM or primary memory RAM, it is designed with the DRAM memory cells. That's why DRAM memory that's why RAM capacity is large in terms of megabytes, gigabytes. That's what. And coming to the cache memories, it is of limited size, 1 MB, 2 MB, maximum 8 MB, 4 MB, like that only. That's what. Majority of the cases. Okay. So here we are preparing to discuss regarding the SRAM memories interfacing. Okay. We will have a look at this. But before going for this, we need to discuss about the RAM, not only with the RAM but also with the ROM also. ROM, read-only memory also. RAM and ROM, both we need to interface here, because in some applications of 8086, suppose your RAM is generally used to provide these segments, to store the contents, everything. But sometimes you need some permanent storages which needs to constantly store the data, and whenever required it needs to be fetched into the 8086. At the time you need some ROM ICs. Permanent storage ICs also required. Permanent storage memories also required. Okay, so that's why here we will have a brief look at the interfacing of the RAMs and ROM, random access memory and read-only memory. So both type of memories interfacing we will see here. So concept is easy, but what we need is somewhat decoding how the things are happening. That's the decoding logic we need to understand. That's the basic thing here. Okay, and before going for this, we need to have a small look at the what is first of all a RAM, what is a ROM. Okay, so let me show you that. Let us say, is the screen visible to everyone? Is this picture visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So this diagram is depicting the what are the memory structures of a RAM IC and a ROM structure. RAM structure and ROM structure. Whatever may be the ROM structure or whatever may be the RAM structure, if it is a temporary or volatile memory, if it is a RAM means what is its basic structure or what are its basic control signals required, and if it is some ROM memory, what are the necessary control signals required to connect with some system. So that's what we are discussing here. And the major thing here is If you are choosing a memory means you need to first of all to identify what is its size. After identifying its size only, I can properly connect it to our system or to our processing unit. Because based on its size, how many lines I need to dedicate to that memory is dependent. I think you want to understand this. Okay. Because if you are interfacing some memory means definitely you need to provide some data lines to access the contents or to provide the content. Or similarly, you need some address lines to access a particular memory location with some specified address, or to write some data into a specified address. You definitely need the address lines also. Not only the data lines, you need the address lines also. And similarly, you need some control lines whether to decide write operation to be happened or read operation to be happened. So like this, some control signals, data signals, address lines, these are all required. These are all system bus lines, whatever are there, those are all required here to interface with the memory also, a memory IC. So that's why we will have a look at this. So RAM means it is a random access memory. Means we can provide the contents, we can read the content. So that's why if you observe the structure, it is having both read and write signals. According to our basic definition of the memories, okay, RAM has a facility to write the contents and to read the contents. That's why a write control signal is provided here at one end of the memory, and a read control signal is also provided here at one end of the memory. Okay, and so what the structure here depicting here is, so this internal structure, let us say, this block represents the, okay, your memory cell, and these are all representing some input buffers, just like an 8-bit location buffer or whatever it is. So here, if you understand this meaning, I think you can understand this meaning 4096 into 8. So what it means is it is having some 4096 memory location, and each location size is 8-bit. That is the meaning. 4096 into 8 means that is the meaning. So 4096 means what is the size of the memory? Can anyone? 4096 means what is its size? Anyone? 1K means 1024 into 4 times, which gives the 4096. So that's why it is a 4K RAM. So the size of this memory, what I am showing here is it is a 4K RAM. 4K into 8. What it means is the size of this memory is 4K, and each location capacity is 8-bit. That's what it is representing. Okay. So 4K RAM, since it is RAM, I am having some input buffers and both output buffers. For what purpose is, if you are trying to write the contents into the memory, you need some input buffer, so that whatever the 8-bit data which is transferring from the, or some 16-bit data which is transferring from the processor to the memory, it will be stored first of all into the buffer and then to the our required memory location. Okay, based on the address provided. And similarly, whenever you are reading the contents from this memory, temporarily first of all the data should be moved out of the memory into this output buffer. From there it will be moved to the your required registers of the CPU or whatever the location destination, whatever the destination location. Okay, so since both cases are possible here, both reading and writing, we are provided with these both write bar and read bar signals. Okay, and this CS bar is acting as a chip select line to activate this memory, or making a provision to access this memory. CS bar. If the CS bar is accessible only, then only I can try to access the contents of this memory, either through input buffer or the output buffer. Okay. So which location I need to access? That will be decided by these address lines. Which location I need to access? Address line. So how these address lines will identify this particular address based on the internal decoder. A decoder will be there. Generally, the decoder what we'll use here is the some the decoder what we use here is a 74 LS 138 something. like that some ICs will be there. We will use those type of ICs 74LS138 like that. In some cases they will use 74LS139 also. Some cases in some less number of cases they will use the decoder ICs. So this 74LS139 is a 2x4 decoder. It is a 2x4 decoder. This one is 138. 74LS138 is a 3x8 decoder. 3x8 decoder. I think you have the the specifications of decoders based on the STD subject. Okay, that's why 74LS138 is generally preferred for the decoding logic, decoding the logic, or decoding the address line. Okay, right. So these things will be used here, addressing, decoding, and how this decoding will happen, we will see in the further topic. Okay, so this is the basic idea regarding a RAM. This is the basic signals required. Okay, when interfacing the memory, RAM memory IC. And coming to this EPROM, let us say what is the size of the memory here? Like the earlier calculation here, what is the size of the memory here? 2048 into 8. What is its size? Anyone? Okay, so it is a 2K memory, 2048 location. So it means its size is 2K ROM, EPROM. What type of ROM it is? EPROM. Okay, 2048, and each location's capacity is 8-bit. So that's why 2048 into 8, or otherwise you can write it as 2K into 8. You can write in this manner also, 2K into 8. It is 2, okay, 2K. The pointer is not supporting properly, the mouse is not supporting, okay. 2K into 8. Like this also you can write 2K into 8 also. It is okay. And since you are talking this IC as a ROM, read only memory. So that's why at one time only the data can be written inside, and after that the write signal is disabled whenever that IC is getting into manufacture, because in the earlier days permanent storage memories are designed in that manner only. Nowadays we are having different types of permanent storage memories with both reading and writing capabilities in number of times, any number of times. But in the earlier days, what happens is if you are designing a ROM IC, means a permanent storage IC, means data can be written into it only once, and you can read the data n number of times. But once the data is written, it cannot be modified. That's what that primitive type of memories are designed with that behavior. So that's why that operation is fixed. That's why the name is also fixed for the permanent type of memories. Even though in the present days we are using different types of memories, permanent storage memories like pen drives, like hard disks, memory ICs, memory cards, we are all using. These are all the permanent storage memories, which are having both reading and writing capabilities. But still, we are sticking with that name of ROM because of the earlier primitive operation at the time of invention. Okay, PROM or EPROM, like that, EEPROM, like this. So, since you are talking about this permanent storage ROM, our write bar signal is not enabled, it is disabled. Only once time the data can be written here, and after that you can read the data only. So that's why the control signal provided is the read or read bar. You can take it in any way, read bar or read, based on the logic you are following, active high logic or active low logic, based on the processor you are using. You can give the read bar or write bar. In majority of the cases, they prefer the read bar, okay, and also the CS bar. I think it is not visible because of the dark background, so I'm making a depiction here. So read bar and chip select bar, okay. Generally, these are all active low signals only, okay. So what is he trying to do is, based on the address value provided, that decoder logic will decode that address, and that address value will be selected, and from that address the required content will be temporarily moved into the output buffer, and from those to the output data lines or data bus lines. The data is available onto the data bus line to be transferred to our required destination, whether it may be some IO device or some CPU registers or whatever the location. Okay, that is. So this is regarding the EPROM. Means here the control signals required are chip select bar and read bar. Coming to the RAM, the control signals we require are chip select bar, read bar, and write bar. Okay. So this is some basic idea. Now we will move to our actual topic. So after discussing these basic things, we can have a little idea regarding this. So if you observe one more thing here, let me tell you. So 4096, change the color here, the dark background. Okay, this is 4096. So what I have told you, it is a 4K. 4096 means nothing but 4K location, 4K size. 4K means what is this 2 power representation? 4K means what is the how can I represent in 2 power? K means 2 power 10, 4 means 2 square. So totally 2 power 12. 4K means 2 power 12. That's why here if you observe the address lines are here, the address lines here are A0 to A0 to A11, a total of 12 address lines. I think you are following. That's why the address lines provided are 12 address lines. If you observe in the next diagram, there are only A0 to A10, 11 address lines are only provided. A0 to A10. But here we are providing A0 to A11. It is not selected any random nature. This is having some particular calculation because based on the size of the memory I want to access. That's why whenever you are interfacing a memory means definitely you need to identify what is its size. What size of memory first of all I need to access. Whether you need a 4K, 32K, 16K or 256K, 512K or 1 MB. What size of memory I want to access. Based on that, the lines dedication is dependent. The address lines provision is entirely dependent. Or decoding logic is entirely dependent. So that's why this memory capacity is first of all very important while interfacing the memory. Okay. So here A0 to A11. So totally 12 lines. How I know the 12 lines need to be provided here based on the this capacity, memory capacity. Since its memory capacity is 4K, which means 12 address lines are required to address 2 power 12 memory location. Okay, that means 4096 memory location with each location size 8 bit. And similarly here it is 2048. 2048 means 2048. Okay. Now what I can say? It is 2K. 2K means 2 power 11. Okay, one multiplication of 2 is just less here, right? If you multiply this with 2, you will get 4096. So this is one 2048, which means 11 address lines are required to access this memory location. So this is how the calculation will be done. So that's why here these lines are selected A0 to A10. 11 address lines are selected. Okay. So with this basic idea, now we will go for the our basic requirements of the memory and what are the steps I need to follow whenever interfacing some memory and how the decoding logic to be implemented. We will all see these things based on this basic idea. Okay. So now coming to the discussion here. So these are all some basic introduction what we have discussed till now. Okay. And coming to it, what are the steps you need to follow? What are the general steps you need to follow? Sorry. So general procedure for interface with SRAM or what are the type of memory? So first of all, you need to identify what is the memory capacity he is trying to interface, and based on this, you need to select the memory chip. Suppose if he is willing to interface 32K of memory, means you have to go with whether if your 32K memory direct IC is available, or you need to provide two 16K memory chips, or if you are not having 16K memory chips, then you need to go with the 4 8K memory chips. Like that, you need to identify whatever the available memory chips are there. But finally, what you need to do is Since the data lines of the 8086 are 16-bit capacity, and you need to finally, by arranging all these memory chips, what you need is you need to maintain a 16-bit bus lines provision. You need to maintain a feel that 16-bit of data is getting transferred or 16-bit of data is getting provided. Like that, you need to maintain the accessibility. Okay. So first of all, definitely you need to arrange the available memory chips. You are provided with a direct memory IC based on your requirement, it is okay. Otherwise, you need to provide different memory ICs to satisfy the required memory requirement, that memory requirement specified in the problem. Okay. Next one, and you need to identify here that even memory banks or odd memory banks, like we have already told in the memory segmentation of 8086, the first chapter. Okay, so there to access these memory locations, these are all not accessed in a single manner. So odd memory bank and even memory bank, RAM memories, like in this manner, those locations are separated for ease of accessing. Okay, and we already told that if a memory accessing starts from the even address location, it takes a single bus cycle, a single cycle to transfer the fetch the 16-bit of data. If you start the data accessing from an odd memory location, it requires two cycles to read the 16-bit of data. That's what we have told. So that's why I always prefer transferring the contents or reading the contents from even address location or even memory bank. Okay. So next, connect the available memory address lines or memory chips with the necessary control signals. Okay, read bar, write bar based on this. So based on the memory, if you are connecting RAM means you need read bar and write bar. If you are connecting a ROM, permanent storage means read bar is only required with some chip select logic. Okay, and the remaining this PHE bar and A0. This A0 is the starting line of your address line A0, and BHE bar bus high enable pin line in your pin diagram of 8086. These two signals are generally used to identify whether a complete 16-bit data transfer is required or a lower byte of data transfer is required or a higher byte of data transfer is required. Based on these signals enabling and disabling, that the content of data to be transferred is dependent. Okay. That means whether you are going for odd memory bank access or even memory bank access or both memory banks you are going to access. That is dependent based on these lines enabling and disabling. Okay. So now we will just have a look at some example. So even though we discuss a lot of theory also, we may not get a clarity. But by discussing a small example, then we can understand what is happening here. So let's have a look at the given problem here. So the textbook is AK Ray here. What I am trying to depict here is okay, and the trying to solve this given examples only so that you can get some basic idea. Okay. So interface, the problem statement given here is interface to 4K into 8 EPROMs and to 4K into 8 RAM chip with 808. So he is not directly asking for a particular memory, size of memory. He is specifying what type of memory is to be interfaced to achieve what size of memory. So what he required actually is 8K of EPROM capacity. But he is also specifying here to achieve that 8K size of EPROM capacity, you definitely should use 4K, 4K EPROMs. That's what he is saying. And similarly, to achieve the 8K RAM capacity, RAM memory capacity, he is specifying you definitely need to use here two 4K size RAM chips. That means what is the memory capacity you need to interface is provided. And similarly, to achieve that memory capacity, what type of memory ICs also you need to use, it is also specified here. So that's why. And what we need to identify here is how I can identify that memory locations so that I can access those memories. Okay. So that's why here the decoding logic is important. Just to have a look at here. And generally, before going for a brief this one, just a small point of discussion. To observe these two names here, one is called the absolute decoding and another is called the linear decoding. Absolute decoding and linear decoding. So absolute decoding in the sense full decoding. Linear decoding is other name is partial decoding. Okay. absolute decoding, linear decoding, or otherwise we can say it as full decoding and partial decoding. What it will decode is from the multiplexer address come data lines, the address will be decoded so that whatever the ranges of memory locations I can address here, it will be identified for a memory IC. Okay. So if you follow the absolute decoding or full decoding type of mechanism, you can access the memory locations in a continuous manner. So whenever there is a feasibility of accessing the memory locations or interface providing the memory locations in a continuous manner, then you can go for the absolute decoding type of logic or mechanism. Otherwise, suppose if you are going for the interfacing of memories with some lapses or differences, let's say, suppose up to some starting 1K range of locations, you have dedicated those locations for some memory, and next 1K of locations you are not using. Suppose another 1K of locations you are using for another memory IC. That means there is some small gap in assigning the address values for the memory location. So at that point of time, it is better to follow the linear type of decoding. And one more thing is for the absolute type of decoding, the hardware required is more because you need to use all these control lines, all these address lines and everything. Complete address lines are required to provide the chip select logic, to decode the address values and everything. So coming to the linear decoding or the partial decoding, they require specific number of address lines only. So based on the interfacing requirement, only specified number of address lines are only required. So less number of lines are required in the linear decoding to make interfacing and everything. So the provided examples we are having both types of decoding manners are here. We will observe here. Just have a look at it. Okay. So first one is this example. Coming to this example. So are you following everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. So let's try to understand a small logic here. So before assigning the addresses, is recalling some basic concept. What it is, our because here you are not confined with interfacing of RAM, but also with ROM also. ROM ICs also, RAM ICs, ROM ICs, everything. Okay. So what he is trying to remind here is your code segment, instruction pointer, all these things. So why he is trying to remind here is because whenever some data is provided here, okay, that memory location, it should be accessible within our range of memory locations which are possible for our architecture. So whatever the architecture, my architecture is there, based on that architecture, okay, whatever some location of memories, range of memory location values, it has a feasibility to access. So if you are providing this memory ICs means definitely they should be reflected in this list of memory locations. Okay, let's have a look at this. You know, after reset, the IP and CS are initialized from the address FFFF0H. You know what is the CS code segment? IP means instruction pointer. So code segment initial address will be loaded at the started from the FFFF0H, and within this code segment, the offset address is provided by the instruction pointer. We know everything. So this address must lie in the EEPROM. Okay, and similarly, the address of the RAM can be selected anywhere in the 1 MB address space of 8086 because we know the capacity of the 8086 is memory capacity of 8086 is 1 MB of memory. Okay. So out of this 1 MB of memory, the list of address values what we are selecting, you need to whether you should be continuous or discontinuous. We will have a look at this. So our requirement is we need to connect some RAM. Total of 1 MB memory I can interface. But what my RAM here is 8K. 8K only. Out of total of 1 MB of memory I can address. How much of memory I need to interface here? 8K RAM and 8K EPROM. So very less memory compared to that 1 MB size. So definitely I can use this. I can interface these memories within my list of memory location addresses values available. Okay. Now let's have a look at this. So initially what he is trying is FE000H to FE000H to FFFFFH. So what he has done is, so in the reverse order, just assign some values from FFFFH to stop for the top memory location to some next 8K locations, 8K locations, starting from this one, FFFFFH. Whether it, let us consider it as this is the last memory location or the highest memory location with some highest address value. From this, he is reserving some 8K number of locations with their respective address values under the name of EPROM. Means 8086 has the capacity to address 00000H location address value to FFFFH value of address location. So in this total range of 1 MB of memory space, you can interface RAM, ROM also. So that's why what he is saying is, so from starting that location FFFFH, he is assigning a range of 8K of location memory space, 8K locations of memory space to interface with the or to provide as an address values for the EPROM. Okay, that is what he has done. FFFFH to FE000H. So up to this 8K range of memory address space, these address values are assigned for the 8K ROM. Okay. Next, to maintain the continuity in assigning the address values, from the next location onwards, FD, FFFH, the next 8K locations are provided as an address values for the 8K RAM, 8K RAM, FD, FFF to FC000H. Okay. And based on this, you can write these, you can expand these binary values in binary address value representation in a binary format. And after writing, you can observe some pattern. You can observe some pattern here. Let us say F means all ones only. Okay, there is nothing wrong in that. So from this FFFF to FE000H, you observe clearly, since it is a 8K EPROM, totally what the capacity of ROM I need to interface 8K. Means how many address lines required, whether it may be with two 4K ICs or a single 8K IC, how many address lines are required. Since it is the 8K memory capacity EPROM, I need how many? 2K means 10, and next 2 cube means 8. So 10 plus 3, 13 address lines are required to access the 8K size of ROM. And similarly, to access the 8K size of RAM, I need 13 address lines. So that's why this dotted line is marked here to indicate that A002, A12 are indicating the address line, which can be used to address this RAM or ROM ICs. Okay. And what about these higher order lines, A13 to A19? These are used to provide the chip select logic. Okay. Let's have a look at now. So observe here. So FE000H to FFFFH. So in this total A0 to A12, these are keep on varying throughout this range of locations. Throughout this range of locations, from FE000H to FFFFH, these 800 to 812 locations, these values keep on varying. What is getting constant is A13 to A19. Okay. Out of this, if you observe carefully, this A13 line is varied whenever I am accessing the RAM. I have observed carefully. While these address values are getting assigned based on the address values provided, this A13 value is changed from the address ranges I have assigned for the RAM memory. For the ROM memory, I have provided based on the address values I have assigned there. A13 value is constant up to this range. So you can see here. So this is A13 here. Whenever I am connecting a ROM IC, ROM ROM, A13 is 1. I can deduce that conclusion. If you are trying to interface RAM ICs, A13 is 0. That is one decoding logic I can understand here. That is one decoding logic I can understand. Okay, and similarly, if you observe here, if you are interfacing or if you are accessing an even memory location means A0 is 0. If you are accessing an odd memory location means A0 is 1. A0 is 1. So that is another decoding I can understand. So based on this interpretation, what I have done is, so what is the requirement he has given? 4K into 8 EPROMs, 4K into 8 RAM chips. How many? 2 each. So 2 ROM ICs, 2 RAM ICs are provided initially with each size 4K. And the data storing capacity is 8K. Sorry, 8 location, 8 bit each, 8 bit. Okay. And we observe here the control signal for the RAM IC, chip select bar, read bar, and write bar are provided. Since it is a memory device, it is not any IO device, it is a memory device. That's why memory read bar and memory write bar type of control signals are generated from 808. And since it is a ROM IC, only read bar is provided, not write bar. Write bar is not required for the ROM ICs, only read bar is required. Okay. And this read bar here is used in the view of ROM. In the perspective of ROM, this memory read bar acts as a output enable in perspective of the ROM IC. So that whenever the signal is provided, immediately whatever the required content from the selected address location, that content will be provided in the output buffer of the ROM. From this output buffer, the data will be available into the data lines. Okay. So how many number of address lines I am using here? Since each location size is 4K, and on overall, how much of memory I am accessing here? 8K of ROM. 8K ROM I am accessing. So that's why totally this A0 to A12, 13 address lines are required. Out of these 13 address lines, this A0 is used to identify. A0 is used to identify whether even memory location or an odd memory location is required. Okay, based on the E0. Okay, but whatever the remaining locations, these are 12 lines are directly the address lines. This is A0 is also address line, but this is helpful in identifying whether even memory bank should be accessed or an odd memory bank should be accessed. That's why. That's why here only representation is A1 to A12. Okay. And these are connected to, these A1 to A12 are the lines from the 8086. They are connected to the A0 to A11 pins of the ROM IC, because these ROM IC are also having some number of address pins. Pins will be there. To these pins, these respective lines are connected. Okay. How these odd memory bank and even memory bank are getting selected? Let's have a look at here. This decoding logic. Decoder 3x8 decoder 74LS138. Earlier I have told 74LS138 is generally preferred a decoder IC we will use here. 74LS138. Okay. So 3 input signals, and based on these 3 input signals combination, 8 type of outputs can be obtained. So that's why 3x8 decoder. Okay. So based on these input bits combination, the output, the signal enabling is dependent. Okay. Let's have a look here. So earlier also we have told, if A0 is 0 and A13 is 1, what we have told? We are accessing the A13 is 1 means we are going for the ROM accessing. If A13 is 0 means we are going for RAM accessing. That too, whether you are going for the even bank of ROM or odd bank of ROM, that is dependent on the A0 signal based on this address specifications provided. This is how the decoding can be happened. That's what. So here ROM also odd ROM, even ROM. RAM also odd ROM, odd RAM, even RAM. That's what. So let's have a look at this table provided here. So these pins, Let's have a look at these pins. So address bar. So address or VHE bar, this A13, A0, VHE bar. These are the pins of the 8086, and these are the pins of the decoder IC. Okay. These top pins are A2, A1, A0. These are all the decoder pins. In perception of the decoder, what are the pins? A0, A1, A2. And these decoder pins are connected to what pins of 8086? A13, A0, and VHE bar. These are the pins of 8086, which are here connected to this decoder A2, A1, A0 pins. Okay. So here, if A0 is 0 and VHE bar is 0, means bus high enable. If this pin is also 0, then it means generally both even memory location and odd memory location are getting access, and a 16-bit data is getting transferred, or 16-bit data can be accessed. That's why even and odd addresses are selected in RAM, and even memory location and odd memory location can be selected. Okay. Why I am saying RAM here? Because A13 is 0. Because A13 is 0, I am saying RAM here. This is what the decoding logic. Okay, if coming to the, if A0 is 0 and VHE bar is 1, if I made this VHE bar 1 from CPU, then it means that at this point of time, you are accessing only even address memory bank. Even address memory bank only you are selecting. That too of RAM IC, not ROM, RAM IC. How you have identified it is a RAM IC? Because A13 is 0. Okay. Next, suppose in this case, next case, let us say now I am using VHE bar as 0 and A0 as 1. So since it is 1 and it is 0, then I am trying to access odd memory address bank of RAM IC, odd memory address bank of RAM IC, RAM, since A13 is 0. How I concluded that A13 is 0 means I need to go to RAM based on the address address specifications, this list of the tables. Based on this table, memory mapping table provided here, what I have observed is that if A13 is 1 means, continuously 1 means you are trying to access the ROM memory locations. If the A13 is 0 means you are accessing the RAM memory location. That's why. Okay. So this is the basic idea. And if you observe here, suppose if you want to access the ROM, what is the A13 value? 1. With the same repetition. If these two are 0, 0 means both even and odd memories, odd address locations are accessed. If it is 0 and it is 1 means even address locations are accessed. If it is 1 and it is 0 means odd address locations are accessed. This is what the logic required based on the memory mapping table provided. And based on these logic provided here, the circuit connections are provided there. We'll have a look at this. Based on these logic provided, this is the table. This is a circuit diagram, interfacing diagram here. So A0, A13, okay. So what type of output lines? Providing chip select. Which chip select line? So let us say 0, 1 combination. It is providing a chip select line CS4 bar. Whether it is enabling or disabling, the chip select line 4 is dependent on the 0 and 1 decoder output line. This chip select bar 3, this signal status is dependent on the decoder logic, decoder output line 0 and 2 as specified here. These are the decoder output pins. Okay. So among these 8 pins, some combination of pins decide the status of the chip select line. Okay, what type of them? That's what we are seeing. So CS4 bar is dependent on the decoder output lines 0 and 1. CS3 bar is dependent on the decoder output lines 0 and 2. This RAM ICs, ROM ICs, chip select line CS2 and CS1. Those are dependent on these respective output lines of the decoder 4564, 4645. That is. That is the combination of output lines I am using here to enable the chip select line. So how these lines will be configured based on these 3 input bit conditions. Based on these 3 input bit conditions, these 8 output lines will be configured, and based on these combination of the pins I have connected, I am getting here the selection of a particular ROM IC, whether it may be even type or odd type, or selection of a particular RAM type, RAM with even bank or odd bank. That is all dependent here. And coming to here, this one, to enable this decoder ICs, to enable these lines, these lines are getting used here using some NAND gate. This higher order lines A14 to A19, because up to the A13 I have used for the decoding of addresses, and these remaining higher order lines are used for the enabling this decoding logic. So A14 and A19 are used here, since it is an absolute decoding logic. Since the type of addressing logic I have followed is the absolute decoding logic. Okay, these all higher order lines are used to enable this decoding logic. Okay.